Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're having a good week. Eddie Hearn has been doing what promoters do, and that is trying to soup up interest for one of his fighters, the fighter in question being Jai Opetaia. And he has been banging the drum, not for the first time, regarding a potential Opetaia versus Oleksandr Usyk fight. Now, his latest quote is this: "I'm looking down the road. Jai is humble. He's committed to the cruiserweight division, but for me, so he's talking about himself, one of the best of all time was Usyk. He became undisputed, moved up and became undisputed at heavyweight. The medium focus right now is every belt in the division," meaning the cruiserweights for Jai Opetaia. "And the long-term focus is to fight Usyk for the unified heavyweight world championship. I believe he, Jai Opetaia, is the only fighter who can give Usyk a real fight over the next 12 to 18 months. Okay, let's unpack a bit of that then. So what Hearn is saying is that Usyk was a cruiserweight, unified the division, moved up, and we all know what he's done at heavyweight, and Jai wants to do the same. Great, perfectly reasonable ambition to have. I rate Jai Opetaia very, very highly. I think he's probably the best cruiserweight in the division, although I do think Zurdo Ramirez can potentially give him a lot of problems. I wouldn't regard that as a foregone conclusion. I'd make Jai a 60-40 favourite in that fight. I think if you look at the two Maris Briedis fights, certainly you could argue that Briedis was past his best, past his peak in the first fight. He certainly was in the second fight, but he still gave Jai, play to think about and a good argument, and went the distance twice. A very, very underrated fighter, Maris Briedis, and some couple of good wins for Opetaia, no doubt, no doubt. So moving up to heavyweight and unifying the division is a perfectly reasonable ambition, a very good ambition to have. Can he do it? Time will tell. I think he looks a bit on the small side, Opetaia, but then I suppose perhaps we would have said that about Usyk to start with. But here's the thing. Hearn is talking about over the next 12 to 18 months, he'll give Usyk a fight, a good fight, better than anyone else, better than any current heavyweight. On this, I disagree, because 12 to 18 months is nothing. And Jai, if he follows what Hearn is saying, will have to unify the cruiserweight division, become undisputed. So he's got to somehow get Zurdo in the ring, and who seems to be playing hardball, him and Oscar De La Hoya. And then who else have we got? Badu Jack's got one of the belts. It's 12 within the next 12 months. To do it within the next 12 months is not impossible, but it is quite difficult. And then 18 months, all right, so let's add another 6 months onto that. So that would take us up to, for the sake of argument, let's say January of 2027. Okay, when Usyk will be 40. But Jai, in that time, would probably only have had about, let's say, 6 months maximum to settle into the heavyweight division. Now, look at what Usyk did. He had a fight with Chaz Witherspoon as his debut at heavyweight, just to settle in, test the waters, see how his body reacted. Then he fought Derek Chisora, obviously a big jump up in class. He was given a few things to think about with Derek early on, but being a maestro he is, he worked it out. Derek as tough as ever, as game as ever. But Usyk sorted it out and won the fight legitimately. And then, of course, he jumped in with Joshua. 2 fights with Joshua, 2 fights with Fury. Well, of course, we had one with Dubois, then the recent rematch, and he dominated. But he settled into that division as a sort of 222, 226, 227 sort of guy, and he looked big on Saturday in the rematch with Dubois. Even to the point where if you looked at his midriff, he just had a little bit of, just the tiniest bit of fat on there, which is not a bad thing for a heavyweight. Because as Muhammad Ali always used to say, you need a little bit of fat on you to burn it off if it's a long, arduous fight. And Usyk's conditioning is so exemplary that, it would be ridiculous to suggest he can't do the 12 rounds. Of course he can. He can do it 12 rounds at a fast pace. He's massively experienced. And as we know, 3-time undisputed, So for Jai Opetaia to do this, to face him within 18 months, having stuck around at cruiserweight to win more belts, is fanciful at the very best. I think 18. The only way he can do it is, I'd say, 3 years down the line, when Usyk is, I don't know, what would he be then, 42 or something, and maybe he can age him out somewhat. But if they fought right now, there'd only be one winner, and it wouldn't be Jai Opetaia. Too small, and Usyk's just too damn good. So, and also picking up on what, but you know, Hearn is going to say this because Jai is his fighter. He wants Jai to get that big payday. He wants him to get that, you know, to dare to be great and so on. And I've no doubt Jai would take the fight against Usyk. But no, within 10, 12 to 18 months, out of the question, I think. Now, Hearn also said that he thinks Jai is the only guy who's going to give Usyk a tough tussle. Again, theoretically, he could be right. But let's not forget that there are people in front of Jai in the queue. One of them is Joseph Parker, who, in my opinion, Usyk would beat. But he's earned his spot in the sun. He's earned his title fight, no doubt about it. I mean, he is a good fighter. I think Usyk would beat him probably by stoppage. But he's earned his day in the sun. The other one is far less, to say high risk, low reward is to stretch the argument. And that's Ajit Kabayel. That is the fight I really want to see. Kabayel against Usyk. Again, I would make Usyk a strong favourite. But Kabayel, I do like that body punching. And he is very front-footed, very aggressive, very confident, and carries an air of fearlessness into the ring. And I like that. I like that. I like what I see there with Kabayel in attitude. I think Usyk could beat him, but I'm curious to see whether Opetaia could do anything with Usyk, because he handles those big occasions very, very well. And even when he walks into one like he did against Zhang, he gets floored, he gets up, and he stops Zhang in the next round. So, to me, I want to see those two fights. If Usyk carries on, of course, he may have one more fight and retire. Long before Opetaia. Hearn is doing what promoters do. Here's my fighter. I want him at the front of the queue. And of course, there's enough casuals and enough people who are just fanboys out there to lap up anything that Hearn says. But no, not yet. Let Opetaia do his thing at cruiserweight, become undisputed champ, move up to heavyweight, and then face, probably the next generation of heavyweights, or the ones who are next in the queue after, Usyk's retired. Fury never retired, but when he gets knocked out of boxing for good, Joshua, when he's gone, when that generation have gone, let Opetaia then test the waters at heavyweight there and then, not aging out Usyk or going in too early, or let him do his own. Be yourself. Don't try and force the issue. Let things evolve naturally. And if you want to know how well that can work, just look at Oleksandr Usyk. Look at what he's done. All right. So those are my thoughts. Leave yours below. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please hit the like button if you liked it, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm eager to hear what you've got to say. And have a good day. All right. Bye for now.